30. Dear Kiddo, take my hand into darkness and onto the dance floor against my will. More adventures with Mom. Gaslighting, for those unfamiliar with the term, is the delightful psychological art of making someone question reality so thoroughly that they begin to doubt whether they even exist. It's like being trapped in a never-ending escape room, except instead of a team helping you solve puzzles, your own mother is standing in the corner, flipping the clues upside down and insisting that you're the crazy one. Now, in all honesty, I had never dated a sociopath or a covert narcissist. So my first exposure to this psychological circus act came straight from Mom. And let me tell you, I was not prepared. It wasn't like I had some handy narcissist spotter's guide in my back pocket. There was no introductory seminar in childhood that said, "Hey kid, if your mother insists that you said things you absolutely did not say, she might be gaslighting you. Here's a coupon for therapy in advance." But that's the thing about gaslighting. You don't immediately recognize it. You just notice little things that make you go, wait a minute, that's not what happened. Is it? You start doubting your own memory, your own words, and in extreme cases, your own existence. It's exhausting, it's baffling, and most of all, it's so incredibly stupid. The Santa Fe Brewery incident, a masterclass in gaslighting. Now, let's talk about the Cave Singers concert. I took Mom to Santa Fe Brewery to see them play. And to her credit, Mom was having the time of her life. She was dancing like nobody was watching, because quite frankly, she didn't care if they were. She was spinning, twirling, and vibing so hard that it looked like she was trying to summon a rainstorm through interpretive movement. Great. Fantastic. Go dance, Mom. Me? I was just there to enjoy the music. You see, as a musician, when I go to a concert, I actually want to listen to the music. Radical concept, I know. I like hearing the way a band constructs their sound, how all the disparate elements come together into a unity. That, to me, is what's magical about live performances. But, Mom? Oh no, that was not good enough. Every 5 minutes, she would grab my arm and say, "Come dance with me!" And I would smile politely, shake my head, and respond with some variation of, "I'm good, thanks. I'm just enjoying the music." But that was not an acceptable answer. Because for some people, if they're having a communal ecstatic experience, then damn it, everyone must be having a communal ecstatic experience. Enter the joke that became a gaslighting nightmare. At one point, after about the 50th invitation to abandon my ears and start flailing, I playfully said, "Mom, I just don't like communal ecstatic experiences." Now, this was a joke. But also, it was true. It wasn't some grand insult against dancers or an anti-fun manifesto. I was just making a lighthearted observation about myself, that I'm not into collective, synchronized group ecstasy experiences. Maybe that's why I never became religious. I like individual spirituality, individual mysticism, individual ecstasy. I just wasn't built for group euphoria. It's not in my DNA. To normal people, this statement would have landed as a lighthearted quirk about personal preference. To Mom, this became a deeply offensive, revisionist, history-level statement that would haunt me for months. Because according to her, what I actually said was, people who like to dance are stupid. Excuse me? No, I did not say that. That was not even remotely close to what I said. And yet, for months, this would become one of Mom's favorite things to bring up in conversation. Remember when you said people who like to dance are stupid? I just don't understand why you think people who like to dance are dumb. Honestly, it's so weird that you think people who enjoy dancing are lesser beings. I would try, again and again, to explain that I never said anything remotely close to that. And yet, no matter how many times I corrected her, she was fully committed to her version of events. At first I thought, surely she just misheard me. Then I realized, oh no. She is absolutely doing this on purpose. Because this was a Mom classic. She would take something completely innocuous that I said, morph it into a wildly offensive, alternate reality version, and then replay that version back to me so many times that eventually I would have to argue against a sentence that literally never existed. The psychological gymnastics of gaslighting. For those who haven't been gaslit before, let me tell you, it is weird. At first, you try to correct the record. No, That's not what I said at all. Then you try to reason with them. Why would I even say that? That doesn't make any sense. Then you start to feel like you're in an alternate dimension. Wait, what if I did say that? No, I didn't. Did I? And finally, you just stop arguing altogether because you realize you are fighting against the void. And Mom loved the void. The void was her favorite place. The void is where facts go to die. What I learned from the cave singer's fiasco, at the time, I didn't have the framework to understand what was happening. I just knew that every time I was around Mom, I left feeling like my brain had been put in a blender and served to me as a gaslighting smoothie. But looking back, classic covert narcissism, Mom had to rewrite the narrative. She had to create a villain, me. She had to win the argument, even if the argument had to be entirely manufactured in order for her to win it. And most importantly, she had to make it about her. Because in the end, nothing was ever just about me. If I had a simple personal preference, I like listening to music instead of dancing, that wasn't allowed to just exist in its own neutral space. No. It had to become a moral failing on my part, a judgment against others, a battle that I wasn't even aware I was fighting. And so, dear reader, if you ever find yourself in a situation where you say something normal and someone insists that you actually said something outrageous, awful, or completely removed from reality, just know you're in the presence of a gaslighter. And also, never go to a concert with them.